Welcome, brave souls, to Sinister Media. I'm your host, Dr. Dread, and tonight we delve into a tale of nature's fury gone terribly wrong. Prepare yourselves for the wrath of Hurricane Milton. But first, a warning, this story isn't for the faint of heart. If you're easily frightened by tales of unstoppable destruction and cosmic horror, you might want to leave the lights on for this one. Now, let me take you to the ill-fated town of Palm Harbor, Florida, where a high school science teacher named Alex Reeves is about to face a force of nature unlike anything humanity has ever encountered. Sit back, turn up the volume, and remember, sometimes, the most terrifying monsters are born from the very world around us. Let the terror begin.
I never thought I'd be writing this, huddled in the dark corner of what's left of Palm Harbor City Hall, listening to the monstrous roar outside that used to be a tornado. But I need to document what's happening, in case I don't make it. Maybe someone will find this and understand the horror that has befallen our once peaceful coastal town. My name is Alex Reeves. Was a high school science teacher here in Palm Harbor, Florida. I've always been fascinated by extreme weather patterns and natural phenomena. That fascination is what kept me here when I should have run. Now, I fear it might cost me my life. It all started less than 2 weeks ago when Hurricane Helene ravaged our state. We thought we'd seen the worst of it, the flooding, the destruction, the lives lost. How naive we were. Nature, it seems, wasn't done with us yet. I remember the day clearly when the news about Tropical Storm Milton broke. It was a Saturday morning, and I was sipping my coffee, scrolling through my phone, trying to find updates on the recovery efforts from Helene. That's when I saw it. A special alert from the National Hurricane Center. Another storm was forming in the Gulf, and it was headed our way. At first, I didn't think much of it. After all, we'd just been through Helene. Surely, the odds of another major hurricane hitting us so soon were astronomical, right? But as the day wore on, the updates became more frequent, more urgent. Milton was strengthening rapidly, feeding off the warm Gulf waters like a ravenous beast. By Sunday, the governor had declared a state of emergency for 35 counties, and the National Hurricane Center announced Milton grew to a Category 3. The atmosphere in town shifted from weariness to panic. People who had just started cleaning up from Helene were now boarding up their windows again, stocking up on supplies, and preparing for evacuation. I should have left then. God, why didn't I leave? But I was stubborn. This was my home, and I'd already weathered Helene. I convinced myself that I could handle whatever Milton threw at us. Besides, the forecasts were still uncertain. Maybe it would turn, maybe it would weaken. I clung to that hope like a lifeline. Monday brought no relief. The sky had taken on an ominous greenish tinge, unlike anything I'd seen before. As a science teacher, I knew this wasn't normal. Green skies sometimes precede tornadoes, but this was different. This green seemed to pulse, almost as if it were alive. I called my colleague, Dr. Sarah Martinez, at the local university. She specialized in atmospheric sciences, and I hoped she might have some insight. Alex, I've never seen anything like this. Sarah's voice crackled over the phone, heavy with concern. The readings we're getting, they don't make sense. The wind patterns are behaving in ways that defy everything we know about fluid dynamics. This isn't just a hurricane, Alex. It's something else entirely. Her words sent a chill down my spine. What do you mean, something else? I asked, dreading the answer. There was a long pause before Sarah replied. I don't know, Alex. But whatever it is, it's not following any known meteorological model. My advice? Get out of there. Now. But it was too late. By the time Sarah's warning sank in, the first outer bands of Milton were already lashing the coast. The roads out of town were gridlocked with those who had waited until the last minute to evacuate. The sky turned from that eerie green to a deep, bruised purple. The air grew thick and heavy, pressing down on us like a suffocating blanket. The wind picked up, softly at first, then with increasing ferocity. Trees that had somehow survived Helene's onslaught now swayed dangerously, their leaves rustling in a frantic dance. The rain started on Tuesday night. It wasn't the usual pitter-patter of raindrops, but a relentless barrage, as if the heavens had opened up and decided to empty every last drop onto our beleaguered town. I watched from my window as the streets quickly turned into rivers, carrying debris and memories alike in their murky currents. By Wednesday morning, Milton had strengthened to a Category 5 hurricane with 170-mile-an-hour winds. The wind howled like a banshee, rattling my windows and sending chills down my spine. I lost power around noon, plunging my house into an eerie twilight.
If you thought the wrath of Milton was intense, brace yourself for the ultimate storm-chasing thrill ride, Twisters, now streaming on Amazon Prime Video. This heart-pounding sequel to the 1996 blockbuster Twister takes you into the eye of the storm like never before. Join a new generation of storm chasers as they face off against nature's most terrifying force. Cutting-edge special effects bring monstrous tornadoes to life, making you feel like you're right in the middle of the action. But these aren't your average Twisters, they're bigger, badder, and more unpredictable than ever before. With a star-studded cast and non-stop action, Twisters isn't just a movie, it's an experience that will blow you away. Will humanity triumph against these unstoppable forces of nature? Or will we be swept away into oblivion? Don't miss Twisters, where the line between science and survival blurs in the face of nature's fury. Available now on Amazon Prime Video.
That's when I saw it. A funnel cloud forming in the distance, descending from the swirling mass of storm clouds above. A tornado. In all my years studying weather patterns, I'd never seen one form so quickly, so violently. The funnel touched down just outside of town, and that's when things took a turn for the truly bizarre. Instead of cutting a path of destruction in a straight line as tornadoes typically do, this one seemed to pause. It hovered in place, growing larger and larger, sucking up everything around it. And then, to my utter disbelief and horror, it began to change shape. The swirling vortex of wind and debris started to take on a more solid form. At first, I thought my eyes were playing tricks on me, a result of fear and exhaustion. But as I watched, unable to look away, the tornado continued its grotesque transformation. It developed what looked like limbs, massive, trunk-like appendages that reached out, uprooting trees and smashing buildings. A head formed at the top of the vortex, a nightmarish visage with glowing eyes that seemed to be formed from ball lightning, and a maw that opened to reveal the dark, swirling abyss at its core. This wasn't a tornado anymore. It was a monster, a creature of wind and fury that defied all natural laws. The creature, I couldn't think of it as just a storm anymore, began to move towards Palm Harbor with terrifying purpose. Each step it took shook the ground, its body still swirling with debris and crackling with electricity. I knew I had to warn someone, anyone who might still be in town. I grabbed my phone, but the lines were dead, and there was no cell signal. I was completely cut off. With no other choice, I ran out into the storm-ravaged streets, heading for the center of town. The wind was so strong it nearly knocked me off my feet several times. Rain lashed at my face, making it hard to see more than a few feet ahead. As I rounded a corner onto Main Street, I saw the group of people huddled in the doorway of the local diner. I recognized Mrs. Johnson, the diner's owner, and several of my neighbors. "We need to get to shelter," I shouted over the roar of the wind. "There's something coming, something worse than the hurricane." They looked at me with a mixture of confusion and fear. Before I could explain further, a deafening roar filled the air. It was a sound unlike anything I'd ever heard before, part wind, part thunder, and part something else, something alive. We all turned to look down the street, and that's when we saw it. The tornado creature had reached the outskirts of Palm Harbor. It towered over the buildings, its massive form blocking out what little light managed to penetrate the storm clouds. Panic set in. People began to scream and run in all directions. But where could we go? How do you escape something that big, that powerful? The high school, I yelled, grabbing Mrs. Johnson's arm. It has a storm shelter in the basement. We might be safe there. A small group of us set off towards the school, fighting against the wind with every step. The creature was moving through town now, its arms sweeping through buildings as if they were made of cardboard. Cars were lifted into the air and crushed like soda cans. The destruction was total, absolute. We were about halfway to the school when I heard a scream behind me. I turned to see Mr. Grayson, my next-door neighbor, being lifted off his feet by the wind. Before any of us could react, he was pulled into the swirling vortex of the creature's body. For a moment, I saw him spinning within the monster, his face a mask of terror. Then he was gone, absorbed into the creature's mass. The sight spurred us on, terror giving us strength we didn't know we had. We reached the school and I led the group down to the basement shelter, praying it would be strong enough to withstand whatever that thing was. As we huddled in the darkness of the shelter, listening to the roar of destruction above us, I couldn't help but wonder, what was this thing? How had it come to be? Was it a freak of nature? Some bizarre culmination of climate change and bad luck? Or was it something more purposeful? Hours passed, though it was impossible to tell how many in the darkness of the shelter. The sounds above us ebbed and flowed, sometimes fading to almost nothing, only to return with renewed fury. Finally, when the noise had died down to a dull roar, I decided to risk a look outside. I climbed the stairs slowly, my heart pounding in my chest. I pushed open the shelter door, blinking in the sudden light.
Attention, Sinister Media fans. Ready to trade terror for triumph this Halloween? Amazon has you covered with 2 epic costumes at prices that won't haunt your wallet. First up, become the Dark Knight himself with our premium adult Batman costume. Strike fear into the hearts of Gotham's criminals, or just your fellow partygoers. This high-quality costume features a muscle-padded suit, cape, mask, and utility belt. You'll be ready to swoop in and save the day. Or the buffet table. But wait. For those who prefer to stick to the shadows, check out our sleek women's Ninja Warrior costume. This stealthy ensemble includes a form-fitting black bodysuit, hood, face mask, and even foam-throwing stars. Silent, deadly, and devastatingly stylish. The best part. Both costumes are now 10% off on Amazon until Halloween. That's right, whether you're battling Gotham's underworld or feudal warlords, you'll be saving some serious cash. Don't let this offer disappear like a ninja in the night. Head to Amazon now. Batman or ninja? Hero or assassin? The choice is yours. But the savings are for everyone.
What I saw took my breath away. The school was gone. Not damaged, not partially destroyed, but completely gone. As far as I could see in every direction was nothing but flattened rubble and uprooted trees. Palm Harbor had been wiped off the map, and there, in the distance, I could see the creature. It was moving away from us now, towards the next town, but it had grown even larger, fed by the destruction it had wrought on our town. I made my way carefully through the debris, heading for the center of town. Maybe there, in the sturdy old city hall, I could find a working radio or phone, some way to contact the outside world and warn them about what was coming. That's where I am now, writing this account in the fading light of day. I found an old emergency radio in the basement of City Hall, and I've been trying to reach someone, anyone, for hours. But all I get is static. The creature is still out there. I can hear it in the distance, its roar carrying on the wind. It's destroyed 3 more towns since Palm Harbor, growing larger with each one. The news helicopters that tried to film it were swatted out of the sky like flies. I don't know if it can be stopped. How do you fight something like that? Conventional weapons seem to pass right through it, and it shrugs off everything nature throws at it. There are rumors now, whispered voices on the few radio frequencies that still work. They say this isn't the only one, that Milton spawned more of these creatures, all up and down the coast, that they're spreading inland, growing, consuming everything in their path. I don't know how much longer I can stay here. Food and water are running low, and the creature could return at any time. But where can I go? Is anywhere safe from these monsters? As night falls, I can see flashes of lightning in the distance, illuminating the silhouette of the creature. But there's something else now. Other shapes moving on the horizon. Smaller, but similar. Are they new creatures forming? Offspring of the first one? The wind is picking up again, carrying with it the sound of distant roars. Not one roar now, but many. They're coming back. They're coming back, and I don't think anything can stop them. If anyone finds this, please, don't try to be a hero. Don't try to fight these things. Just run. Run as far and as fast as you can. Because I fear that what we're seeing now is just the beginning. The storm that was Milton is over, but the true wrath of Milton, these monsters it spawned, may be the end of everything we know. The sounds are getting closer now. I can feel the ground shaking beneath my feet. I don't think I have much time left. To whoever finds this, I'm sorry we couldn't stop it. I'm sorry we didn't understand in time. And I hope, somehow, you find a way to survive what's coming. This is Alex Reeves, signing off from what used to be Palm Harbor, Florida. God help us all.
And there you have it, dear viewers. The chilling account of Alex Reeves and the monstrous tornado that may spell doom for us all. But the question remains, is this truly the end? Or is there hope for humanity in the face of such unimaginable horror? If you enjoyed this tale of terror, make sure to like this video and subscribe to Sinister Media for more spine-chilling stories that blur the line between reality and nightmare. And remember, the next time you hear a storm approaching, ask yourself, is it just the wind? Or is it something more? This is Dr. Dread, signing off. Stay sinister, my friends.